DeWittDailyNews.com. DeWittDailyNews.com is the area's leading local news source 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. Get the latest local news, obituaries, police blotter, weather forecast, and more with no paywall. Head to DeWittDailyNews.com to get the local information you need to know.
From the newsroom of Regional Radio and DeWittDailyNews.com, I'm Ben Hubbard with this expanded morning newscast. News time is 8 minutes after the top of the hour. Morning show news streams to Facebook and YouTube, brought to you by Peterson Insurance, your Pekin Insurance agent in Clinton. DeWitt County Sheriff Mike Walker announced Monday he will seek re-election in the upcoming spring 2026 primary election. In a release early Monday, the two-term sheriff touts his extensive experience locally in law enforcement and many years in administration. Sheriff Walker calls it an honor to serve the citizens of this great county and is thankful for the support he's been shown in his time as sheriff. Walker currently lives in Clinton and is a native of Pana, Illinois. He will be seeking the Republican nomination for the general election next November. A local police department is working with ROSC to put on a community event. Lincoln Police Chief Joe Meister explains that they are teaming up with Logan and Mason Counties ROSC, or Recovery Oriented System of Care, to host an event called Breaking Barriers that aims to promote recovery from addiction and remove the stigma that can come with addiction. The event will be on August 9th and will feature guest speakers, food, and possibly live music.
Police department's going to partner with Logan Mason ROSC, which is the Recovery Oriented Systems of Care, on August 9th from 12 to 3. We're going to hang out at Hope on 5th Street. We're going to have some speakers, maybe even some live entertainment, do a little cooking, maybe pork chop sandwiches or hamburgers and hot dogs, something like that. And the police and the recovery community are going to get together. We're going to call the event Breaking Barriers, and that's just to try to minimize some of the stigma that maybe the recovery community has about the police and the police have about the recovery community.
The chief indicates that both the general public and some police officers have harmful stigmas about people who struggle with addiction or mental health issues. He hopes that breaking the stigma of addiction will go both ways and break the stigma faced by police officers.
When you're talking about somebody who's in recovery, obviously they've had a problem with something at some point in time in their lives, whether that be drug, alcohol, or mental health. And there are certain stigmas, there's officers out there that maybe don't have all the experience built up yet that look at these folks like the only time I ever see them, they're messed up, but it doesn't make them any better or worse than anybody else. So they're just another person in our community that we need to make sure that we have respect for. And when we show that, the reverse stigma also can be affected. These people look at cops as if I see one of those guys, that means I'm going to take a ride I don't want to. And that's just not always true. And so we want to break those barriers down and address those stigmas from both sides.
The partnership between ROSC and the Lincoln Police Department is strong. Chief Meister says they are working with a number of local organizations on an initiative called Task Deflection.
Yeah, so ROSC is one of them, but we have many others that are partnering on a project called Task Deflection. Something that's actually going on here in DeWitt County, partnered with Piatt and I think Champaign. Their group is. We will be Logan, Mason, and Menard counties. And this program is designed to get folks who are struggling the help they need, and they can do that through the police department. It's a program that's going to kind of replace what we used to have called Safe Passages. It has a little bit better resources than what we had back then. Yeah, the biggest number one thing is they'll have 4 full-time task deflection specialists and a supervisor. These are folks that are out in the field, boots on the ground, that will actually do what they call relentless engagement. So if there's a member of the community struggling, needs help with whatever kind of services, even if it's not substance use services, it's just social services, they go out and meet them every day and get them what they need and make sure they get to treatment or whatever they need, make sure that they can get those services.
The Breaking Barriers community event takes place on August 9th from 12 p.m. to 3 p.m. on 5th Street in Lincoln. Learn more about the department's community outreach efforts by visiting lincolnil.gov/police-department. Over the next 10 days or so, temperatures are expected to be normal for this time of year. Ed Shimon at the National Weather Service in Lincoln indicates temperatures this time of the year are in the mid to upper 80s, and that's where we'll set up in central Illinois for the next several days.
The 6 to 10 and 8 to 14 day outlooks actually show just a near normal temperature profile, which is a change. We've been seeing that above normal, but there's like a below normal pocket right across the central and southern plains of temperature below normal. And we're normally in the mid 80s, so below normal can be, right around 80, but that would be comfortable. I mean, all the way through, let's see, the 8 to 14 day outlook goes all the way till the 16th of the month. So, it's not showing any kind of really deep heat, and all that heat is mainly in the Pacific Northwest and the northern plains. So we probably could have a decently comfortable or not excessive heat kind of period here in the first 2 weeks of July. Right. Yeah. July is our warmest month. We see 86 for a high for almost the entire month for normal. And then the low is 64 or so for almost the entire month. Right around there, mid 80s and mid 60s. That's not too bad. The dew point is where you get that uncomfortable situation setting up. But one thing about those outlooks, they are saying above normal precipitation potential. So we could have more cloud cover coming in here after this little bit of a break in the early part of the month without much rain. So possibly a few storm systems coming in. When you're below normal temperature outlook, that means you're probably going to have some storm systems keeping the air cooler and, giving you some rain. So hopefully, that'll help some of the drier areas of central Illinois there.
Not only is July the warmest month of the year, but it is also the wettest month of the year. Shimon indicates nearly 5 inches of rainfall in July, and some of that can come in very short bursts.
Yeah, July is our wettest month. We get 5 inches of rain in July. That's the most we get out of any month throughout the year, which basically means 0.2 of an inch of rain each day, almost a quarter inch of rain each day on average. So it's a lot. Not quite a quarter inch, but 5 inches of rain for the month is a lot. And
according to Shimon, oftentimes the heat of the summer oscillates through the country, but he notes that is not something showing up in the outlooks.
Yeah, sometimes if they move around and oscillate across the country back and forth, that's what usually happens. But I'm not seeing that in the outlooks. It's showing the Northwest stays hot and the Northeast stays kind of warm. We're in that cold zone in the middle where we're maybe able to have more of a storm track and less intense heat. Probably some severe weather thrown in there, though. Whenever you see cooler than normal and the storm system's coming in, severe weather potential kind of starts to come back into your thought process there. But in reality, if we have a cooler than normal first part of July, that'll help us because the dog days of summer of August probably are going to start rolling in eventually. We're going to probably see some sweltering heat in the August time frame based on the 3-month outlook showing us above normal for the rest of summer.
Slight precipitation chances are being forecasted for this week in central Illinois. Temperatures should hover in the mid to upper 80s most of the week. Now for your local obituaries. Nicholas Paul Ludwig, 27, of Clinton, Illinois, passed away at 12:15 p.m. June 29th at his residence in Clinton. A celebration of Nick's life will be 12 noon Wednesday, July 9th at Calvert Funeral Home with Pastor Dan Michael officiating. Visitation will be 10 a.m. to noon at the funeral home. Get news anytime at DeWittDailyNews.com.
MR Systems Wireless is your local internet provider for Clinton and surrounding area. They have the products you want and the local service you deserve.